Hey everybody, this is Alchemisted, and... Okay. Let's talk about the Undine. Now we're heading into a series of missions that is more or less an Undine story. It's going to start off a little bit with the Borg, they're a little bit involved, but it's mainly about the Undine. It's been transformed from being all about Undine to being mainly a setup for Undine things that happen later. The episodes. This was originally. Oh my god, how many of these episodes? This was like. There were like 3 or 4. I want to say there were 3 more episodes to this little section of the game that used to be here. Mainly dealing with exploring fluidic space, which is something that you barely get to do now. It really is kind of wasted. Because he came up with like all these physics for fluidic space and all these assets, and you barely used them. You just threw them away. They're only present in like a couple missions and a couple TFOs. You have an entire alternate universe to explore. Okay? It's another universe. It's another reality. And you can communicate with the things that live there. They're hostile as shit, but you can talk to them. The game originally was trying to build up a ecosystem in fluidic space. There was a native species that dwelled within the Gekli, the space whales from TNG, in fluidic space. And it was implied that Tin Man was from there as well. Tin Man is like the big living starship that they meet early on in Next Generation. So, you are building the lore of what this universe is, and then they just took all that, tossed it away, and now it's just, you go to fluidic space twice if you count Delta Rising, 3 times if you count the TFO. You barely spend any time there each time. So there's all kinds of and it's really sad because in the books, or the book singular, The Needs of the Many, there are often descriptions of people who have been to fluidic space, or people who have been on Undine ships, like Makos in full armor, who describe what it's like to have to move through the soup that is inside Undine ships. Like whenever an Undine ship boards a Federation ship, it injects just the soup of fluidic space into the ship, so the Undine can move around and swim around and sort of move like lightning, and everybody is just sort of encumbered. Like they either like suffocate or they're encumbered by it in some way. So there's actually lots of really cool potential that they came up with. They came up with these ideas that they just threw away and never used. And it's an appropriate time to talk about this because we just finished off a storyline about the Preservers that will go nowhere. The Preservers will do nothing. And that is one of, if not the biggest missed opportunity this game has. Think about it. Think of like all the cool shit that you could have done with Preserver engineers or Preserver science officers. And it's such a pity that they just dropped the ball so egregiously here. Because think about where we could have gone. We could have spoken to the Undine. The Preservers have a mastery of organic technology that possibly goes beyond even the Undine. We could have had the Preservers help dealing with the Undine. And we could have, like, spoken to the Undine on equal terms with the help of the Preservers. Like, we didn't have to go through all these hoops. We could have just had the Preservers help, because some of them left. Some of them left Lanos to explore the galaxy, and you didn't get them as a bridge officer, Cryptic. It's like, could you imagine having a Preserver engineer on your starship? How cool would that be? What kind of technology could they like, you want to talk about starships using, what's the name of that thing? their neural gel packs from Voyager. Like, Starfleet's already beginning to incorporate, like, organic technology. Imagine having a preserver there to soup it up. Could you imagine how cool that could have been? And you could have dealt with the Undine. We could have been done with the Undine. Or, we could have, even better, we could have taken the Undine in a new direction. We could have spoken to the Undine, because here's the catch, and here's what we're going to find out. I'm just going to spoil this for you right now. We're going to find out that the Undine are attacking the Federation, the Klingons, the Romulans, because they think that we're attacking them. But we're going to find out that the Undine have infiltrated the highest levels of these governments anyway. So they know that we're not attacking them, it's somebody else provoking them. I remember listening to, this is not a new gripe. I remember years ago, back when there was still UGC in this game to podcast over, I remember Havraha going off on a tirade about this. It's like, what the fuck is the deal with the Undine? They're stupid. They're completely stupid. They know we're not attacking them. They know they're being used as pawns. The Undine, here's what you could have done with the Undine. That would have been so cool. The Undine would have been in the perfect position to bring everyone to the table. If you could get through to them with the help of the Preservers. You could have dovetailed all those plots into one thing, and then we could have moved on with the Voyager expansion and stuff. And then the Preservers could have blown up the... And then the Iconians could have, like, just destroyed Lanos because they saw how the Preservers helped everybody, like, resolve the Undine situation. They're like, we don't want them helping them with us. It wouldn't have taken much. But I feel like they were so committed to making Mass Effect. That's what Star Trek Online is. That's what the first 5 years of Star Trek Online is. Basically, it's Mass Effect with the serial numbers filed off. Mainly because J.J. Abrams blew up the setting. We have less than a year to develop this game. We need a storyline. We need to get this game ready to ship now. Atari will not budge on the release date. Okay, so they barely had any time to work on this game as it is. They needed a plotline, so they decided, let's make Mass Effect but Star Trek. The Iconians are the Reapers. Their ships even looked like the Reapers when they first showed up. And having the Preservers there didn't fit into that plan of having the Undine essentially being the Geth of Star Trek Online. Everybody thinks the Undine are the big threat, the threat that's the big bad here. And everything else they're just thinking is like an Undine, like tricks and shit, because nobody trusts each other. So they're rationalizing it as the Undine or the Borg. And nobody's seeing the big picture. Only a very few people who are out on the fringes at first, like Obisek, for example, are seeing the big picture here. Like you, there was Obisek, there were a couple others. The only people who understand what is really going on and what is really at stake. And much of the game was you sort of like finding evidence to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt. At that time, at least. Like early days of this game. To prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that hell is on the horizon. And it's not the Undine and it's not the Borg. There's something worse coming. And having the Preservers around, doing things, contributing, they must not have felt that fit into what they were trying to do. What this game, the things that they came up with, that they clearly had an idea where they were going with it, that they didn't do. And the things that they didn't think of, despite having all the pieces in place right in front of them, continue after 10 years to blow my mind. Without further ado, we are no longer looking at active missions. They scrubbed... I don't think they've scrubbed it yet. But they are scrubbing the TFO missions, which about friggin' time. Yeah, it's called Borg Advance. It's barely anything to do with the Borg. Beginning with this, it's all about the Undine. And then, of course, you have, like, Task Force Operations. But yeah, where Angels Fear to Tread, Gathering Darkness, Assimilation, Fluid Dynamics, all Undine. All Undine all day. This is the only one that is all Borg. And, of course, it's the Tal Shiar messing with Borg shit, because of course they would. I need a capable ship and crew to check out reports of Borg activity in the Burgess system. The Waglinde is more than up to the task, and I know that you have previous experience with the Collective. There's no better officer for this. They said task again. You should have, there's no better commander. You could have said that instead of just, like, repeating tasks. There's a lot of repetition in Star Trek Online's dialogue. I feel like this game badly needs an editor. Even today. Stay alert. There have been reports of other ships in the region, including Tal Shiar vessels. The Burgess system is well out of Romulan space. I'd like to know what their purpose is out there. And I stand up because whatever. And there's a man in a skirt. And we are not leaving. Because I have to be on the bridge to leave. Alright, begin. Where angels fear to tread. Let's take a look at camera distance.
This is Commander Talus of the Romulan Star Empire vessel RNA. We are under
That is a
attack
rock.
by Borg scout squadrons. This is a formal request for assistance from any ship receiving this message. Do not abandon us.
That is a very close shave, Helm Officer. Die. Remember when the Borg were threatening? Remember when the Borg were fucking scary? I remember flying through.
You have compromised the integrity of the Collective. Prepare to be assimilated. Resistance is futile.
I remember flying through Gamma Orionis, desperately struggling to get away from Borg Cube mobs that would pursue you at, I remember, once I hit, Rear Admiral, I was just faster than the Borg Cubes, and I could just squeeze away, before, reaching the Betran cluster. I remember having to outrun these things in sector space, or get swarmed by them in, an instance. So, yeah, the Borg used to be scary in this game. Now they're a joke. I am in. This is like a 50 or 60-year-old starship design. Look at what I'm doing to this cube. Done. Not a scratch.
Range. This is the IRW RNA. My ship has been attacked and disabled by the Borg. My crew are being assimilated. The self-destruct is offline. I have retreated with my surviving officers to the main science lab. If you can hear this, I formally request assistance. If there is no one who can respond to this message, then may we die with honor.
Here's the thing. You got... Let's count them off. You got the Hirogen. You've got the Undine. You've got the Borg. You've got the Zenkathi. You've got the Vaadwaur. You've got the Tal Shiar. You've got the Remans. You've got the Terrans. You've got the shit. There's so many. You've got all these scary, powerful entities, and they're all trash. All of them. Like, the sphere builders, trash. They're all trash. All Cryptic can do to make them harder is just give them, like, all kinds of, like, annoying abilities. Like the sphere builder's ability that just yanks you, like, everywhere. Like the stupid gravity drone that the Zenkethi have, but in space. It's in space, so it's different. Maybe the first time you fight them, because you don't know what you're in for on a new mob. But you can bet yourself that they're going to have something that gives them iframes, something that, like, yanks you across the room, some kind of big spread attack, and some kind of, like, special, like healing ability. Or, in the case of the Herc, they just fill the screen with garbage, and your UI keeps blinking on and off. But there's nothing really scary. There's nothing really menacing or unknown about any of them. And that part of that is the nature of the franchise itself. What's the famous quote from Kirk? There's no such thing as the unknown, only the temporarily hidden, or something along those lines. But still, I remember the early days in this game, the Borg were fucking scary. Especially in the old raids. Yes, this game used to have raids. Actual raids. Like the original Infected, with the medical drones and the dis nodes. You want to see what it looks like when, like, a Starfleet fire team of 5 officers is up against a room of, like, 50 fucking Borg, with more of them beaming in, and the Borg just keep getting back up. You want to know what fucking fear is. The Borg used to be scary as shit, especially when they had Gozer making the Borg adapt to everything players were doing to overcome them. There used to be an actual, like, person, like, watching streams and YouTube videos, watching the tactics players were adopting to fight the Borg, and then going into the game to edit the Borg to make them counter those tactics and force players to have to come up with something else. They used to be scary. They're not so much anymore. I am of two minds. Do I want to use my anti-Borg shotgun, or do I just want to machine gun everybody in my path? I mean, the shotgun does additional kinetic damage on Borg, but so does a Thompson. You see my dilemma. The shotgun is cool, but so is the Thompson.
Thank you for coming to our assistance. Borg drones have beamed aboard the RNA and are attempting to assimilate my crew. Several of us have barricaded ourselves in the science lab. We need your assistance to prevent our ship from being assimilated and to save the rest of the crew.
You know what? It occurs to me that I really should have, as like, all that shit that I just said, even with all that shit factored in, I really should have, like, an anti-Borg fire team on my crew, because God knows I got enough slots. That's something for me to think about. I have re-enabled the music. I usually play with the music off for the purposes of...
Borg have the ability to adapt to energy weapons in order to use energy weapons effectively against them. Equip yourself and your bridge officers with frequency remodulators. There is a supply of them not far from your current position.
Understood. For the purposes of, like, grinding and what have you. Although lately there hasn't been much for me to grind. It's all been discovery shit. There. 5 frequency remodulators to clog up my inventory. Okay. So I should have integral frequency remodulation, right? Integral frequency remodulation and frequency remodulation. So yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good with this. I'm gonna shotgun the shit out of some Borg. The old Mako gear, still your best bet in the game. Still some of the baddest gear. I remember there used to be really big problems with the Omega Force. Anti-proton SMG.
The Borg have locked down the passage ahead. Use the console in sickbay to override the security protocols.
There used to be a really big problem with it because they would adapt immediately to it. Why am I hitting square to remodulate? Why am I hitting square to remodulate? What the shit? Oh, I know why. Because I was playing... Man, Elite has completely fucked up my muscle memory for this game. Alright.
Thank you so much for saving us. The Tal Shiar were using us as test subjects in their experiments with Borg technology. Only a few of us survived their investigations. I know that they'll do anything to preserve their empire. And I've seen with my own eyes what they and the Ilachi did to the outlying colonies. But I didn't think they would be this cruel to their own people.
Dude looks like a Romulan Teal'c. Don't worry, you're safe now. Let me just scan this weird floating rock. We're not even going to bother to make this look like it makes sense here.
The Borg have disabled the force fields guarding the science lab. We managed to fend off the first wave, but we need your help. Get to the lab and stop the remaining drones.
Yeah, what would that Borg fire team have? I need at least a sniper. Like someone who could do a lot of... And I've got that TR. A specific anti-Borg fire team. Yeah, I could do that. I could make that happen. Doing it again. I don't know why I'm hitting square. It's like I'm expecting that to be the reload button. Hang on, guys. I gotta scan this. See, they beam out, but why do they spore out when they're injured? Like, what reason would they need to, like, spore out? Like, what? We don't have something that can, like, convert them to energy and instantaneously bring them aboard the ship? We have a fucking transporter. Like, that's what it's for. We don't need to replace the transporter with a, like, a big-ass spore machine.
Borg drones incoming. Destroy them before they reach the research equipment.
Yeah, I got it. Grenades. Well, you're hanging in there, aren't you? Yep. Get rid of that. Car grenade. Yep, sure. If he can aim properly. You got him. Like this. You would be dead early on. Because the Borg, you would always have to deal with their distribution nodes. Like, until the distribution nodes were dealt with, the Borg would not stop coming.
The Borg presence aboard. Thank you for your aid, but I must ask you to return to your ship at once.
No.
Our research here is critical to the survival of the Romulan Star Empire. We cannot share these secrets, even with our rescuers.
I got bad news, Talus. The Empire's fucked. The Empire is done. Like, that ship sailed.
We are studying salvaged Borg devices. Bear in mind that this technology is now the sovereign property of the Romulan Star Empire. My engineers tell me that our engines are online, so your further presence aboard my ship is neither necessary nor desirable. For your own safety, I advise you to leave and to forget what you have seen here.
And there's a little camera bug. So I remember this was a little frustrating for players when this mission was first released.
Long-range sensors show a Borg squadron approaching at speed. Essential repairs to our singularity drive are almost complete. If you can occupy the Borg and give us the time we need, I will overlook your intrusion on our classified research.
So at the time, when this was released, there was no, like, I don't think there was a Borg set yet. There was an Aegis set. But I think that was it. Or I think this was even before the Aegis set, honestly. So when you got the Borg set, it was like you were this massive hypocrite. The players were like, wait a minute. I'm flying around with, like, Borg shit growing out of my ship, but I'm saying it, like, but I'm saying that it's too dangerous for these people to play with? Which, it's the fucking Tal Shiar. Of course, you don't want the Tal Shiar to have any Borg stuff, but there was a little bit of hypocrisy there. We'll be taking that Borg technology with us. Energized transporters.
How dare you take advantage of my ship's vulnerability, but you cannot escape the wrath of the Tal Shiar.
I really can.
Don't think that your actions today will go unpunished. We will find you, and when we do, you will return what you have taken with interest.
I'm shaking in my boots. I sure hope you don't sick that secret Tal Shiar order that's been around for the thousands of years that Romulans haven't existed for. Oh no, the secret order that can barely take on a maid, a butler, and a 90-year-old man. Oh no, that secret order that's never been spoken of in the history of the franchise because it's stupid. I hope you don't sick them on me. I fucking hate the Jem'Hadar. I fucking hate everything about that show. Jesus. The one thing that that has grown on me, that is in any way related to Picard, is the uniforms, and even so, those are kind of cheap.
Our scanners show more ships approaching. I hope you enjoy the spoils of your theft. Enjoy defending them from the Borg, that is. We are responding to a distress call from an IRW RNA. Normally we would provide assistance to Tal Shiar, but the Borg are a threat to all of us.
Not really.
However, you appear to have things well in hand. Do you require assistance?
Not really. The Borg are an afterthought at this point. They are the definition of starter villain. I'm gonna explode you with rainbows. And NPC just blew up a Borg cube on their own.
How dare you try to escape with the property of the Romulan Star Empire? Lower your shields and prepare to be boarded.
No. Enjoy this temporal vortex that you are in no way designed to defend against. Yeah, that's not gonna end well for you if you tractor beam me and try that hyper torpedo bullshit. Those torpedoes are just gonna bounce off this ship, and I'm just gonna smile at you and unleash a huge spread of prolonged engagement torpedoes while you stare in abject horror at how useless your weapons are against the 60-year-old starship. Although, to be fair, the Dideridex is just as old. So, fairly... No, not even that even. Like, the Dideridex is supposed to be, like, way more powerful than a galaxy, isn't it? Because I know it's way bigger than a galaxy. It's like 2 galaxies stacked on top of each other. But it's supposed to be, like super ridiculously powerful. Like, it's supposed to be a major... Like, a galaxy can take on a Dideridex, but that's an uphill fight. I remember a lot of those from playing Final Unity. I'm gonna get that one. Back when the Romulans were the go-to main villains of the TNG era. Just about every game, it was the Romulans. Especially if it was published by Activision, it's the Romulans. Like 9 times out of 10. If it's not a Romulan, it's a Vulcan. And if it's not a Romulan or a Vulcan, it's a Dominion War story. And it's a Cardassian. That was it. I think the only time the above did not apply was Elite Force 1, and that was only because Voyager was in the Delta Quadrant. Elite Force 2, it's the Romulans. Borg and the Tal Shiar. I can't think of a worse combination. The Tal Shiar and the Iconians, dude? This is known by this point. We knew the Tal Shiar had an interest in Borg technology, but I thought Starfleet and the Republic had put a stop to their research. Now we know they're still working with stolen collective tech. We will have to be vigilant. Thank you, Admiral. This won't be your last encounter with the Borg, but I know you're ready for whatever comes next. Oh boy, am I. The Borg are an afterthought at this point. Deuterium-stabilized warp core. Yeah, that would be the direction I'd go. For me, it's vendor trash, but if it's your first time through this mission, you've probably unlocked the reputation system by now, so shit. Never mind. Defeat Borg ground. 48 of 60. Should we? Should we head to Defera? Now I'm going to use the Thompson. all I gotta do is just get a handful of Borg drones. I don't really do endeavors, though. Like, I don't really, like if it's like this, like, if I'm already on the way to it anyways, and I might as well just finish it, I'll play it, but I don't really like endeavors at all. It's just grindy. It's just more grind for a game that is already grossly overburdened with grinding. Might as well look dapper while we do this. So, oh yeah, 51 out of 60. This will be easy. I don't know why he just started firing into the air. I don't know what you're doing to that wall, but stop it. That's it. There you go. 60 board. Let's get back in uniform. There we go. That's Rangel's Fear to Tread. I'll see you later.